Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I was doing some work on this Craftsman B ratchet and this my grandfather's 11/16 wrench. Just a little surface rust. The major I cleaned up a little bit earlier. Of course, I'm nowhere near done with it. As you can see, there's still a little bit here and there, but I was just going to do a quick video, show you guys what I use. Some of it's here on the table with me. Some of it's still put up because I didn't need it today. I just thought this would be a good video for anybody starting out, trying to rebuild ratchets or something to that extent. Obviously, see here, steel wool, pretty fine steel wool. Doesn't take much off, just gives it a good polish. Scotch-Brite's also good. Something I use quite a bit for something, not when I'm trying to polish it up, but see, like this surface rust here, just a little bit of Scotch-Brite helps quite a bit. Also use what I'm gonna try to start using. I guess I should say I actually had some as a short on my page. I used vinegar to kind of soak for about an hour or so, and it seemed to help. I've heard people using Coca-Cola, things like that. We actually have a vat where I work at that's caustic acid. I've used it a couple of times. It works really good. Of course, as you know, the more harsh the acid, the more careful you have to be. So just a disclaimer. But I also really like this. I've had this can for a long time, solely for tools, and I mean, I think they've even renamed it since then. So, love Kroll. And it does, it doesn't have a awful smell either, so that helps me keep it in the house. And then when I'm going to polish, I use Brasso here. Safe on chrome. I was very skeptical trying to find something that wasn't too harsh. For chrome, I have a little Dremel that has a polishing bit on it, and it just seemed to be a little too harsh for what I was wanting to do. Because I do like for this instance, I want it to be nice and kind of shine a little bit, but I want to keep that used, almost, I guess you could say, steampunk kind of look, like it's been used, but it's not been totally abused and neglected. So, and of course, my grandfather's wrenches, I worked really hard for a very long time to get these almost in mint condition. Worked a very long time on those, and that's probably my most prized possession. So those are always definitely taken care of. I do have a video on that. But as for ratchets, it depends what I use. The higher the tooth count, more likely I'm going to use oil. I've used the super lube. I like the super lube, but I try to be cost effective. So what I have around me at the time, like I have, the name escapes me at the moment, but it's a turban oil. I use it. Works very well. I use it on my ratchets that I use daily at the shop. Works really good. It does tend to ooze a little bit out of the the cover plate and that kind of thing. But it's very easy to just take the cover plate off, squirt a few drops in there, and let it ride. And I've used Kroll, WD, that kind of thing. Anything to kind of just keep it from rusting over, really. Super Lube's great if you have access to that. If you want to try that, works great. Highly recommended. That's just not what I use. It's not my preference. But for the lower tooth count ratchets, like my 1/2 inch drive I use at the shop, and a lot of my Craftsman, all the way down, even my 1/4 inches that are low tooth count, and a lot of the less expensive, quote unquote, I tend to use grease. Because if it has that thin cover plate like Craftsman was notorious for after a certain point, probably around the 80s, 90s, just that thin little flimsy aluminum foil cover plate that they started using. You don't really want to use oil on that because it just leaks out, extremely fast. So I use grease. I've used several different types of grease, and it may not make a difference. I know certain greases it does, but the grease I use is a high temp, high friction, red tacky grease. And why I use that, I've used a polymer based grease before, Polyrex, if anybody's familiar with that. And it just seems, when it gets a little warm, it just melts right out of there. So I try to use a kind of a high temp, tacky, red tacky grease. And the high friction, obviously, in my way of thinking, my line of work, I work with a lot of bearings, a lot of horsepower, a lot of torque, that kind of thing. So when I think of high friction, I think of a lot of torque, and you're putting torque on said ratchet. It might not make a difference. I'm not a scientist, but it makes me feel better, so that's what I use. I just kind of wanted to make a video explaining what I use and why I use it. I'm interested to try, like, this vinegar worked really well today, so I'm interested to see if I get a stronger acid, maybe, if it would work better. If anybody's tried that, let me know. And as far as, I've seen a lot of things on Facebook and groups that I follow, a lot of people with the Craftsman, and not even just Craftsman, but the Western Forge made screwdrivers with the acetate handles that turn color, stink real bad. I've tried several different ways to kind of negate that. And honestly, the best way that I've been able to do it, and it's not foolproof, you may have to do it a couple of times, I do it ever so often, but I take a shop rag like this one, warm water, not hot, not cold, but warm, and Dawn dish detergent, get it, soapy, and just really scrub, and it tends to work. Now, I haven't done it in a while. There's probably multiple different ways. There's always more ways to skin a cat, so to speak. So that's what I do, because I know it's not gonna damage over time or anything. It's not a volatile chemical, so I know it's safe. Number one, and obviously Dawn and a rag is pretty common. Everybody's gonna have that for the most part. So that's what I used at the time. I have experimented with steel wool. Didn't quite get the thing I was looking for. I've also seen people with heat guns try it. I've not tried that because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to melt it. So that's also a way to do it. I wouldn't do it personally, but if you have a few drunk drivers laying around, you don't mind messing up, try it out. Let me know how it works. But as for that, I just a short little video. Brasso cleaner. It polishes. I've heard Barkeeper Friend does a pretty decent job too. Cruel as my cleaner. I even use it to clean it, kind of like WD-40. Works really good. Of course, steel wool, Scotch-Brite, the works. So I appreciate you guys watching this. I hope if any of you guys are starting out wanting to do this, obviously you can go WD, you can go Barkeeper Friend, whatever you have on hand. Just kind of experiment and branch out as you go. That's what I've had to do. And I'm always interested in different aspects. I've tried the Evapor Rust. Maybe I didn't have enough. It didn't really work for me. So I want to try that again because it's great in theory, but I guess me, it just never really worked the way I wanted it to. So you guys, thank you for watching this. Let me know what you guys use. Let me know if you've used any of the things I do and how it works for you. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.